All right, just setting up something here really quickly. Okay, nice. Okay, so I'm actually calling this. I'm actually calling this light conversation. Give me a second here. I drink my ginger and lime juice. Well, water. Sorry, ginger and lime water. I try to drink at least 3 liters of water a day. I really should be drinking 4, but it's a lot of water to drink. Okay, so I'm actually doing a live on TikTok, and I'm simultaneously doing a live as well on Facebook. Yes. Don't be alarmed. I'm just eating, some pawpaw. They say it's an acquired taste. I don't know. Some people like it, some people don't. I like it. Good for your gut. Plus, I have to eat something. I'm kind of breaking a fast. So, yeah, so this is called, basically, it's a light conversation. I actually wanted to play something in the background. Yeah. That is Beethoven. I think that's Symphony number 3. Yeah. That's Symphony number 3. As I've told everyone before, well, on my TikTok, I like classical music quite a bit. I like other kinds of music too, but I like classical music quite a bit. Yeah. Yeah. I have a long history with it. So, what we've decided here to do actually at KHOZA'S SEA Academy, I know actually on Facebook it's actually under my name, but really this is, I'm promoting really KHOZA'S SEA Academy. So what we've decided to do in the past couple of days is that we've decided to reintroduce classes for standards 1 and 2. And the reason why, what's the reason why? The reason is that I think if you have greater control over the process, I think that you can, it's easier, or it's more likely to produce a particular result. Because there are certain things, even for standard 1s and 2s, that obviously when children come into standard 3, you make certain assumptions, and maybe those assumptions may be unfair to students. Because previously we actually used to teach standard 1 and 2, and a lot of the work that we did in standard 1 and 2 was because obviously it wasn't SE format or formatted like SEA. It was kind of broken down into different topics. So language arts was broken down to vocabulary, spelling, grammar, some composition. And then children did not read actual novels. They read either short stories, well, mostly read short stories. And part even of the reading is not only that children read silently, but at that age, standard 1 and standard 2, that they also read aloud. That is also something that children should be doing. Excuse me, I'm just eating some more pawpaw, right? Yeah. So, for those reasons of trying to have greater control over the process, we've decided to reintroduce our standard 1 and standard 2 classes. The days, the times, schedules, all that, costs are on our TikTok page, as well as this Facebook page, as well as on our Instagram page. It's on Threads as well. Where else do I have that? Oh, I have it on LinkedIn as well, because we're on LinkedIn as well. So all those times, costs, and so on, all the pertinent information is on our on all our pages. So we thought it necessary, as I said, to restart tuition for standards 1 and standards 2. I think it's important. And yes, we recognize that, because that was never really our intention. Our intention really was not to start the SCA process in standard 1, but we recognize that a particular foundation, a very specific foundation, has to be laid in standards 1 and standards 2, so that children are in a better position in standard 3. You don't want to be in standard 3 and then you have issues even with reading, with phonics, with pronouncing words, sounding out words, spelling words. If I recall correctly, when we used to teach standards 1 and 2, we did a lot of spelling, and I mean a lot, and a lot of vocabulary. And I mean a lot. Quite a lot of spelling and vocabulary. Spelling 2-syllable, 3-syllable, even 4-syllable words. So that when children now are in standard 3, they have less of an issue with spelling. Because we also recognize as well, that when even the SCA exam is being marked, students can lose marks for spelling. Yes, and a wider vocabulary means that now you can also increase your comprehension skills. So we look at everything as being, tied one into the other. This idea of success, and someone will say, well, it all depends upon what you mean by success. But success, even in any context, means that you have achieved something, you've done something, you've conquered something. It's very, at some level, quantifiable, and at some level, very specific. But the truth is that for any success, and again, however you define success, you have to reverse engineer that success. You have to. It doesn't matter whether or not the goal is you want to make $1 million. You want to pass an exam, you want to obtain a degree, a master's, whatever. You want to build a house, it doesn't matter what it is. You have to reverse engineer that process, meaning where am I going to start? I already know what my goal is, but where then am I going to start, and what are the steps, and what are the things that are important, what are the things that are not important. Becoming very, very specific so that you don't waste time. Because the thing with time is our most valuable resource, right? Time is our most valuable resource. And once you spend time, you can't get it back. That's the thing. You cannot get it back. So this concept of reverse engineering, and I know I use that concept a lot, but I realize I have to use it a lot. Because success in anything, whether you're an athlete, whether you're a business person, it does not come by guess. It doesn't. You have to take very deliberate action. You have to expose yourself to new information, because then that new information now creates, in and of itself, situations that or puts you in rooms that you could not have been before. So even here, we are trying to get children into the first choice room, for want of a better word. And everybody wants to be in the first choice room. For those who have now joined, welcome. I'm just eating some pawpaw here, right? Some good stuff. Yeah, so the conversation is about, I don't need pop on my mouth, do I? I don't see anything orange. Yeah. So the conversation is about why we are now offering again tuition for Standards 1 and Standards 2. As I said, the reason is to have a greater control over the process and to get to children even earlier, and to make sure that they have learned certain foundational concepts. It's very, very important. It's very, very important. I mean, Standard 1, you don't necessarily learn multiplication per se, but you learn to count in groups. So you learn to count in 2s, and 3s, and 4s, and 5s. And that's your tables. That's your 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, up to 12 timetable. So it's important that children master those concepts, that they master even at a basic level the 4 operations of multiplication, division, addition, and subtraction. That are able to add and subtract tens, hundreds, and so on. So these things are very, very important. Good morning to Aria. Good afternoon. Sorry, it's 1:08. To Aria and to, I'm seeing Little. So good afternoon to everyone. If I didn't say that before, I think I said good day. Yeah, so as I said, we are trying to have a greater control over the process. Good afternoon to Stayana. Did I pronounce that correctly? Stayana Douglas or Stayana? I don't know which one is the proper pronunciation. Forgive me if I pronounce your name incorrectly. Rihanna Bihari. I know I pronounced that correctly. Well, Rihanna Bihari 5. I forgot the 5. and Godfrey Cox. What's up, Godfrey? So we're just having a conversation, very light conversation about reintroducing lessons for tuition for Standard 1 and Standard 2 children. And someone will ask the question, is it not too early to be doing the lessons? And I can understand the concern, but again, having had children who have passed for their first choice and having seen the work, and also having experienced interacting with children who, because I'll give you an example. Actually. A couple of years ago, I was there was a young boy in my class, and I think he was going into Standard 5, I think he was in Standard 4 going into Standard 5. Or he was prepping for SEA that year, I can't remember. Something that way. And this young man, I remember I used to give him, not short stories, but like, to paragraphs. Like, I gave him short stories, but I'd ask him like to read the first paragraph and record it for me. And send it to me, and it was problematic. And that shouldn't be the case for a child who's about to do SEA of that age. Children shouldn't have problems reading. I mean, obviously, unless you have some kind of learning disability, children should not have problems reading at that age. And sometimes when children come to you, there's very little that you can do, especially in the context of preparing for the exam. Now, they may catch themselves later on in life and do very well. I'm not saying that they won't. But sometimes when a child comes to you, or rather when a parent says to you, my child is scoring these kinds of marks and so on, then, especially like 2 weeks before the exam, I mean, what can you do? Obviously, you cannot take people's money and lie to them. I mean, I guess you could. I am not in the business of doing that. I think it's a dishonest thing to do, and to be quite frank, I always reiterate, because I'm a man first before I'm anything else. And it's just not a masculine thing to do. I don't think it's a masculine thing to do. So we are trying to become part of the solution. We recognize that there are, particular challenges, and we are trying to put our hat in the ring, so to speak, to create solutions for parents and for students alike. That is primarily our goal. I mean, we are a business. And like any other business, we like making money. But at the same time, we are not going to deceive people so that we can make an extra dollar. We're just not going to do that. Because ultimately, when you're dealing with education and you're dealing with such a critical phase in the life of a child, you can't mess around. I want to use other colorful language, but let's just say you can't mess around. Let's use the word mess around, But you all know what word I want to use. Yeah. So, good afternoon to Janice, Thomas, Shafiat, Curtis, Just Cool. Yeah, so I keep saying the same thing over and over again. I guess because people are joining, and I just want everyone to be aware of what I'm talking about. I want to come on the live and say, who's that Rasta dude? So in the background is Beethoven Symphony Number 3. In previous lives, I've talked about my love for classical music. I know it's not everybody's bag of tea or cup of coffee, but it's mine. Well, a little classical music, some jazz, some gospel, some R&B. The R&B of the 90s and the early 2000s was like the R&B of the 90s and the 2000s. Yeah, golden era of R&B, and even soul music as well from the 60s, 70s. Yeah, that's more my kind of thing. And I have some weird taste too, but I got a massive fan of Billy Joel. Massive. Love his music. Massive fan of Lenny Kravitz too. Love his music. Love it. I like Fleetwood Mac too. Love their stuff. Yeah. Also, I love my music. Ooh. Can't think of anybody else at this point in time. I will listen to Beethoven, but I am really a massive fan of Chopin. Yeah. There's a new guy, well, not new, guy called John Batiste. I actually like his stuff, actually. He's a pianist. Very talented fellow. Anyway. So as I said, this live on Facebook and also on TikTok is simply to share with everyone that we will be offering tuition for standards 1 to 5. Starting, well, I won't say starting from next week, but starting basically from the beginning of November. Because as I said, we see the need to go backward a bit. Because previously we were offering tuition for standards 3 to 5. But we realized that there are some things that are problematic in standard 3 that we need to address. And the only way to address it is to go back. Is to go right back to standard 1. Yeah, so hence the reason why we're offering tuition services for standards 1 to 5. Again, I'm just eating some pawpaw here, right? For those who just joined. Eating it in a very demure way. We are trying to ensure that children are successful and do well. We have a vested interest in that. We have a vested interest in that. Yes. We have the expertise to do that. We are confident in terms of our abilities, given the experiences that we've had. Very confident in our abilities. And we recognize as well, again, I've said this previously, and I'll keep saying it, this is not a sprint. And this will never be a sprint. This is a marathon. This is a marathon. And I think in a marathon you have to recognize that you will not initially get the kind of result that you want. But if you stick around long enough, you're going to get that ultimate result. That is a thing that I've noticed over and over again with children. Sometimes children will go through a spell where they're doing, badly. There's certain things they don't understand. And then, they enter a new standard, and then, or down the road or another term, and, that just changes and transforms itself. And that is not really in that instant. That is because of this concept of, working through a process and then seeing what's wrong in terms of what you've done, then going back to the drawing board, and that repetition is what really creates that transformation in terms of understanding and learning. But that takes time. It just does. Unless your child is exceptionally brilliant, that takes time. And the percentage of children who are exceptionally brilliant is probably less than 1%. So this is a marathon. It really is. It is not a sprint. And if you come and you register your children and think that it's a sprint, you will be sorely disappointed. Because as I said, I like to be honest with people. I'm not simply going to tell you what you want to hear because I want to get your money. I'm not particularly interested in that. It's better you keep your money. I will tell you, to be quite frank, what is the truth. Because as a particular holy book says, the truth makes you free. It makes you free. So, it's a marathon. I know I reiterate a lot of things, but I realize I think it's important to. And again, I consistently speak to my experiences, the things that I've experienced, the things that I've seen, the expectations of parents. Sometimes when, a month before this critical exam, they want to seek you out because their child doesn't understand fractions and decimals and percentages and unequal sharing and can't write a proper essay or can't write a proper report, has problems with spelling with the task 1 in the language arts and so on. And obviously, sometimes it's too late to do particular things. And I think it's important to save yourself the hassle of coming last minute. And I think as well it's important to, sign up your children as early as possible. And I will continue to say this. We have confidence in our abilities, but at the same time, we recognize that we exist in a market where there are other people who are doing very good work as well. So even if you don't go with us, still find somebody who's competent. Find somebody who's competent. I can't put my head on a block for anyone else, but definitely I can put my head on a block for myself and for what we provide. Definitely, most definitely. So, if you're interested in our services, again, online tuition for standards 1 to 5. And again, some parents have issues with the online thing. I did a live on that. It's on the page. You can listen to it. I posted it in full and also it's in parts. And we spoke about bridging the gap with technology and the importance of using technology now in teaching and also the application of artificial intelligence as well. So we had that conversation. It's there on my TikTok page. Actually, it's also my Facebook page too. Well, on our Facebook page, or my Facebook page, you know. All right. So if it's something that you would want to do in terms of signing up your children, which you should do, you can call or WhatsApp us at 469-5929. That number is 469-5929. Did I say it right? That radio voice? 469-5929. Yeah, so you can give us a call or WhatsApp to sign up your children and get started. Get started on, a track that can ensure great success for your children. Because that's what we're interested in. We're interested in children doing exceptionally well. That is what we're interested in. And ensuring that that process is as close to perfect as it can be. It'll never be perfect, but as close to perfect. Which means we got to do the same thing too. We got to go back to the drawing board, see what worked, what didn't work, measure, assess, cut, add, and so on, and keep it moving. Constantly evolve and constantly grow. That's what we're trying to do here. And we want it to redound to the benefit of your children. And also we want parents to get value for money. Got to get value for money. Who wants to pay for something and not get a result? No, you want to get value for money. Yeah, so that's what this live was about. Just, making everyone aware that we are offering tuition services for standards 1 to 5. Someone said to me, I sound a little bit like James Earl. So I have to get, working on that base register. What do you think? Do you all think I sound like James Earl? James Earl Jones? I'm just messing around. All right? So give us a call, send us a WhatsApp. Yes? Hope that everyone has a good day. Well, good afternoon, really. It's 1:31. Okay? So, adieu. Adios. Bye. Auf Wiedersehen. Whatever you want to say. Yeah? Okay, bye.